Vistiji, I like to say, as a proud owner of Kala Amrita Yoga, can you explain us and walk us through actually through not only the examples, but rather explaining the concept of Kala Sarpa, Kala Amrita Yogas, and as well as a few words about better understanding these yogas in people's charts?
Very nice question. And first, I should put across that as a topic, the whole topic of Kala Sarpa Kala Amrita Yoga comes under a banner of yogas called Malika Yogas, and is a offshoot from those Malika Yogas is Kala Sarpa and Kala Amrita Yoga. So when we discuss Kala Sarpa Kala Amrita Yoga, people get caught up in that yoga, but I take as importantly the yogas of Graha Malika, as importantly.
Right.
Okay? And it is a very relevant yoga. These Malika yogas, they're very relevant, and they're in the Shastra. One very good writer on this has written on this in a book in Bharata Ratnakara, is a very detailed exposition on the topic of Graha Malika.
Okay.
But there is some big differences when it comes to also the topic of Kala Sarpa Kala Amrita Yoga. Okay? There are some major differences between Malika and Kala Sarpa and Kala Amrita. First and foremost, it's useful to say this. If you have Kala Yoga in your chart, okay? Any Kala Yoga, then you're going to be having a setback or a problem or a difficulty that you're addressing.
Okay.
And that's what differentiates Malika from Kala Yogas or Kala Sarpa Kala Amrita, because the Malikas are always beneficial, always. Whereas the Kala Yogas have a negative trait to them. There is some setback to them. Now, you can have these two overlapping. You can. And then things get a little bit confusing for some if they know both. Because if, let's say, you have a Kala Sarpa Yoga, but in the Kala Sarpa or Kala Amrita Yoga, all the grahas are lined up exactly in every sign from Rahu to Ketu or from Ketu to Rahu. So every sign is occupied. Then really what's happening is there's no chance for the Kala to manifest. It becomes Malika Yoga instead.
Right.
Okay.
I understand.
And so, for example, in my chart, I was told I have Kala Amrita Yoga, but the effects, there's not much Kala in the yoga.
In the yoga.
Because I have every sign occupied, every sign. So this aspect of setbacks is not very pronounced in my life. Okay?
Correct.
But Kala still will have a trait of trying to pull one in one or the other direction with the fear of a setback, but there's Malika. Malika means there's a benefit in the end result. Now, so you can hear from me that when people will consider a crystal clear Kala Sarpa of everything between the nodes and nothing join the nodes and everything like that, really could be Malika. Then there's no problem. So it's when there are these spots or holes between the signs leading to the nodes or before the nodes, that's where the problem starts. Okay. And then there is a setback over there. There is something pressing the person. There's something that's hurting the person. Then that's the issue.
And there is no Malika. Yeah.
Yes. So that's the first thing we dwell on. Now, and then there's the extent of setback. And somehow, as soon as people hear Kala Sarpa, and especially this is the case in India, as soon as they hear that, that's it. Oh, disaster. Okay. And it's not to say that some people with Kala Sarpa or Kala Amrita don't see disaster. Some of them do. But it's many people who are born with this in many parts of the world, and any simple logic will tell you that maybe not everybody born within, let's say, a good 2 weeks' time is all going to suffer, because that's a really, really huge portion of the world.
Yes, correct.
So there has to be some, a little bit of logic that comes into this and says, so many people are born with it. Are all of them going to suffer? Are all of them going to suffer the same? How serious is it? And et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Those topics come up. As if the basic analysis of house Lord Karaka doesn't work as soon as Kala Sarpa Kala Amrita Yoga happens. That's not true. It does still work. You just have to examine that in the chart. What is it that is suffering?
Right.
If there is suffering to be met. So, and then the second part of this is that a very popular approach to Kala Sarpa Kala Amrita is to then examine which house is it in or sign is it in, and based on that, there is a name of the Naga. They say they use only Naga names. They don't use Sarpa names. Okay. To differentiate what type of yoga it is. In our school, we also have names for the grahas in yoga with the nodes to differentiate the names of the Nagas. And that gives us an understanding of what is happening in the person's life. Okay. Because if you know the Naga's story, you know what's happening in the person's life. That's the idea.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And then there is another facet to this, which is the breakage of the yoga. Okay. And two misunderstandings on this topic. Some people say, oh, it's broken, it doesn't manifest. No. If the yoga is there, but it is broken, that means it will be there, and the yoga will also end one day. So there's a time factor involved in this. Yes, there's Kala Sarpa, and at one point in time, the Kala Sarpa ends, either due to a good fortune, remedy, something like that. Okay. So those are some factors one has to keep in mind. Okay.
Right.
And you can have naturally broken yogas. Of Kala Sarpa Kala Amrita, but it's still a time factor that's relevant or involved in breaking the yoga eventually. But what the commonality in the public is that they don't speak of Kala Amrita Yoga. They only speak of Kala Sarpa Yoga.
Indeed. Most of the time.
Yeah. Yes. Which is okay, because that's a nice way to bridge that topic, but we do have a way of differentiating it. So I have brought about a few topics now. I said, look, this is really under the topic of Malika. So when you learn Malika well, then the Kala Yogas become very interesting. Let's look at the concept of Malika. Okay. The concept of Malika is that planets should be in a chain where at least 5 signs in a row must be occupied by grahas. That means either of the Navagraha. Now there's an equation here. The reason 5 signs is because we're using Navagraha, 9 graha.
Yes.
So you want more than 50% to be part of the yoga.
Okay.
Simple,
okay.
Very simple.
Very
right?
simple, yeah.
So that's why Bharata Ratnakara mentions, hey, look, you should have only at least 5 signs. Then it's Malika. Because he's using the nodes. The author's using the nodes.
Right. Okay? Nava. Yeah.
So now you know, he is. Now then there's the next statement. Oh, that means the author Bharata Ratnakara is including the nodes because he's a Vishnu worshipper. And Vishnu worshippers will not ignore the nodes. Okay? There's a school of worshippers who will ignore the nodes. All right?
Yes.
In their approach, which is also fair. But then the definition has to change. Then you have Saptagraha and you have at least 4 signs occupied.
Not Nava and 5.
Must be at least 50% of the ones we're looking at. Now, based on this, you have 2 schools. These 2 schools are both right.
Yeah.
They're both right. Because you can have Malikas which are using the nodes and are not using the nodes. When you include the nodes, you need to have 5. When you exclude the nodes, then you need to have 4. So the grahas can form Malikas independent of the nodes. Then they need 4 signs.
Okay.
But if one of the signs is occupied only by a node, that won't count unless it's 5 signs occupied. Simply put.
Right.
That's Malika. Now, what people usually don't ask is, if there's a Malika, what happens to the grahas who are not part of the Malika?
Not in a row, yeah.
They are not participating in the Malika. They are opposing the Malika.
Party breakers.
They are party breakers, exactly. They're telling you run away from the Malika. Now, Malika is auspicious, I just mentioned, yes?
Yes.
So any graha not in the Malika is saying something inauspicious, breaking your Raj Yoga, breaking your Shubh Yoga, breaking the Dhan Yoga, whatever yoga it is. It's breaking because of the grahas which are not participating. Okay?
I understand.
So now when you learn this, now there's a whole thing about how many signs occupied and which result. There's a whole, methodology there. For that to learn that, you have to learn Abhas yogas, and you won't learn that properly unless you really study from a proper course. And I recommend the Parashara Jyotish course. There we teach this properly. Like there's a karaka for each of the types of malika, for example. Okay, and then you have to examine just that karaka. You'll know the results, what it means, what is the bhava involved. You can read this from Pavatna Ratnakara. Please go ahead. We teach this in the course as well.
Okay.
So here's a bit of course promotion, if you will. All right, study properly.
Not a problem, indeed. Study properly.
Now, then I take this one step further. Did I mention earlier that in a Kala Sarpa Yoga Yoga, if they're in a chain, if it's a perfect chain, all the grahas in the chain, then it's really Malika, right?
Right.
And you will have all the grahas occupying all the signs, all 7 signs from point A to point B between Rahu and Ketu. So everybody's participating.
Indeed.
So there's not one person who's against the yoga. Everybody's joined the club. We're saying we participate. We will not break this yoga. Right. So it's such a, what we call perfect Kala Malika. It is actually one of the best yogas you can get.
Yeah.
Because nobody has opted out. Every graha is saying, we are on board. We will do this. We welcome this topic. We welcome it. We will do this together.
And fully support. Yeah.
Imagine a chart where all the grahas are on board for one singular purpose. What is that purpose they're on board for? What is it they want? They are all looking for the goal. What is the goal? The end of the Malika. The end of the chain. So similarly in Kala Sarpa Yoga, you start from the one node and you see, do we cover all the grahas? If we covered all the grahas before we reach the last node, that means that the last node is the one which is the goal, right?
Yes.
Okay. So who is the end of the Malika? Some people say, I don't know how to find the end. Start from 1. Do you cover all the grahas? Yes. Do you come to the end being the node? Yes. That end node is the focus. Right. Say, no, what if I start from the end? Did you cover all the grahas when you went zodiacally? Did you?
Yes.
If you didn't cover them, it's not.
Correct.
There's no Kala Yoga.
Correct.
Simple. I'll show an example later.
Yeah.
So that end graha becomes the focus. Always. Now, is everybody participating in trying to reach that end? What a nice yoga. What if it's Ketu in the end and all the grahas say, yes, we will follow Ketu.
Follow the moksha, follow the Ketu.
Wow. What a yoga. Now you hope that Ketu is indeed looking for moksha.
That's
all.
Yeah.
You know,
the
Ketu may not
scenario.
be looking for moksha in your chart. Could be, you know, you could be in trouble. There's like, we're going into that pit.
Indeed.
You know?
Indeed.
Yes. So what if that Ketu's join Mars, for example? Pishacha yoga. Then the person is like a bad spirit, you know, going around blood-sucking people.
Yeah, pishacha, like a demon,
Exactly, like a demon, let's say. So this is the idea behind it. This is the idea that we have. So when you get this first information, then you have an understanding. Okay, is everybody participating? Is somebody opting out? Now, obviously, if I say, let's say the person starts with having Rahu, then no planet, then suddenly you have a row, 4 planets, okay? Or how many? 5 signs will be covered. Fine.
Yeah.
So you had Rahu, blank, then 5 signs covered. So this is still Kala Amrita Yoga because Ketu is in the end. Amrita is Ketu in the end, okay?
Yes.
But Rahu is now not participating. Because he is not part of the chain. Nobody invited him, come, let's join the club, let's go run after Ketu. Right?
He's left behind.
He was left behind. You got it. He's left behind. They just ran off without him. What do you think Rahu is going to do to that chart? He is going to be diabolical. He will try to break any attempt for this person's life to work. Any. That Rahu, ever Dasha comes, everything, we have to be careful. We have to do remedies.
Many setbacks, yeah.
But the setbacks will come from Rahu. It may not be many. You just know they'll come from Rahu. The many and what the setback is and what not, you'll again see what is his house, what is he Lord, you know, which yogas is he in, etc. And then you'll dwell. Usually a 3-point analysis. House, Lord, Karaka.
Yeah, location of the problem. Yeah.
And you'll need house or Lord first. And then Karaka to confirm. If Karaka doesn't confirm, no problem. Somebody is going to listen to this video and say, which Karaka? Depends what he's doing. Is he in the 10th house? Maybe you want to see 10th Karaka, right? Is he loading the fifth house? Maybe you want to see fifth karaka.
Right.
Right? Like
right.
that.
Right.
But that's what his agenda will be. He will attempt to do that. Jyotish using a single analysis of just one graha and making predictions is incorrect. It doesn't work. You need factors which contribute, factors which supplement the topic. All right. We have a 3-point analysis.
Correct. Or it stays superficial. Yeah.
But yes, superficial implies that it's nothing that's really affecting the person.
Incorrect. Yeah.
Right. And even superficial means that they saw something and it happens. There's one small thing. And always when it's a problem, I need 2 malefics. So I'm not just looking at Rahu. I need Rahu to be in some diabolical condition. One Mars must aspect him, one Shani must aspect him. He must be in some, in some Nietzsche or Maranastan or something negative, Rahu in Mars's signs, he always starts playing mischief with people over there. So I need things like that to add to this.
Correct.
He could be in Nichamsha, he could be in some major Sandhi dosha, he could be in a Panchanga dosha. I need something additional, okay? Not just the graha. So, because at least 2 problems must partake, as we say.
Okay.
So,
very good.
Knowing this, knowing this, we now have an outline. Now, we could get into breakage of Kala Yogas, okay? And which means there is a Kala Yoga, firstly. There is a Kala Yoga and it's broken. All right? And so breaking means, now this is where it gets very specific. Now we're getting into the full Kala Sarpa Kalamrita realm. All right? And this is where we say, what is the Kala Yoga about? Where you have to differentiate, is it Kala Sarpa or is it Kalamrita? Okay? And sincerely and honestly, the breakage yogas are also questionable. Okay? They're also questionable.
Okay.
Because it's good to break Kala yogas. Yes. Kala yogas are good to break. Because if there's suffering, you want to break it. What if it's not Kala? What is Malika? What if it's a Kala type yoga, but all planets are in a chain from all 7 signs covered? Do you want to break it? I don't think so.
Yeah. Correct.
And so even if I speak about breakage, it's useful for the astrologer and it's useful for timing the events, that when things get easier, all right, you will be able to tell when a person is coming out of a Kala Sarpa Kalamrita yoga. Yes, with this information. But the schools in the popular parlance, we speak of 2 types of breakage which come automatically. If Moon breaks it or Jupiter breaks it.
Okay.
How does breakage happen? So I've written on this also. All right. If either Moon or Jupiter are joined the nodes or joined the 1st or 7th houses, then it's considered automatic breakage.
Yes.
One of the two. One of the two is enough.
Should be either at the beginning or at the end of the
In the beginning of the yoga or end of the yoga, or in the ascendant or in the 7th house, beginning of life or end of life.
Okay.
And so then we say it is an automatic breakage.
Right.
Now, there's a big difference between Moon and Jupiter. Moon represents an aspect of the upper part of the torso, the head area. Okay? And Jupiter is the guru of the body. So it depends if the Kala Sarpa Kalamrita is eclipsing the body or the head. Because if it's eclipsing the head won't help you.
The mind.
Because the Moon cannot help if it's affecting the head. All right? Then you need Jupiter or the body to help you out. Okay?
The wisdom and structure.
Yes. But if the problem is in the body, then Moon can take you out. So there's a whole scheme of reading that I will not get into today. I will not get into that.
It will be too long. Yeah.
But there is a scheme of doing that so that we know that Moon and Jupiter can break, but it's not assured. And even if they try to break, they have to be strong.
Right.
They cannot just do it. They have to be strong. And then if they are breaking and they're strong, breaking to do what? You hope they're strong to do something nice. For example, if a person has Kala Amrita Yoga and they decided to renounce and go to the monastery, what happens if it gets broken? Are they going to leave the monastery? Oh, wait a minute. Now that's a problem suddenly, right?
Serious problem.
So we have to weigh very carefully what yoga is this about.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
What is more relevant in my book is to see how a person will treat the yoga when it manifests. Not the breakage. I want to know what are they doing about this, because the breakage may come very late. But whilst it's going on, how are they treating it? Okay. The statement, Kala Sarpa Yoga should make a person a criminal. If you have Kala Sarpa, you should be a criminal. Okay. And then there are many people here, Jyotishis, spiritual people who listen to this and say, I have Kala Sarpa, I'm not a criminal. What happened? I am praying every day in front of God and in the devatas and in the temple. Maybe there's a priest saying, I have Kala Sarpa, what happened? I say, because you don't have Kala Sarpa manifesting. Okay? You see, the thing about Kala Sarpa and Kala Amrita Yoga is you are being asked to make a choice, black and white. Do you choose Bhoga and run after Rahu?
Yeah.
Or do you choose the Amrita and run after Ketu?
Right.
And most of us most of those, I should say not us, but those who don't have, Kala Sarpa, Kala Amrita, but have regular yogas, are still making that choice in spite of not having Kala Yoga. Okay? So you can have the intense situation of Kala Sarpa Yoga and you choose Ketu. You can have that. All right?
Deal. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Where you say, the world is telling me money is important and I should be, by hook and by crook, get that money. Okay? The world tells me that. But I will choose Ketu. So who are you? You are like Prahlad. You know? You're among all the Rakshasas and you're saying Vishnu, 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 Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. And that's why the crooks and criminals want to throw you into the bay. All right? That's the situation.
Beautiful.
So one thing is what you choose. Another thing is what's happening around you. So what is happening around you is the Kala Sarpa Kala Amrita Yoga. Okay?
But what you choose is something
could be different from what's happening around you. You are choosing differently. You're opting differently. You are becoming the priest in the for the crooks, you could say. All right. So that's the idea that we beget from this yoga.
And very quickly, we can actually look at this phenomenon similarly to what you talked in some moment about Gochara. We have absolutely exact approach on the transits because it is happening outside. But what is happening inside, that's something completely different. Yeah. So why should you be? Yeah.
So that's the exact idea. And we are reading life, so we should be able to depict life. And so all of these facets and nuances of life should also be available in the chart. Okay?
Correct.
So this is where I come in and say, look, okay, let me give us some basics on how to read this properly. Okay? What are you choosing? You are choosing based on 3 factors. Either your lagna, or your moon, or your aruda lagna. These 3 are the basis for which you're making choices. Okay?
Yes.
And you may have Kala Sarpa Yoga, but if your lagna doesn't like Rahu, if your lagna lord doesn't like Rahu, you won't accept Rahu. That way, for a day in which Kala Sarpa Yoga, or of 2 weeks in which Kala Sarpa Yoga is existing in the sky, you can have different lagnas either opting for or against Rahu. Now, to be against whichever of the nodes, you should expect that the node is placed in 6th from the Lagnesha. To opt against it. If you don't like whatever the person opts against, is in 6th from Lagna Lord.
Yeah, the enemy sign, the 6th, yeah.
That will be the net. There are some additional enemy signs for each individual graha, like Sun, Saturn, Jupiter all hit the 6th, but Moon hits the 12th, for example. And Mars hits the 12th. For example, there are these in Pajitali Sambandha.
Yeah.
So we'll also examine them when we dwell on this topic. So that was step 1. Maybe you'll say, oh, that didn't make a difference for me, Visti. My Lagna Lord has not chosen one or the other. Okay. Then the next thing I see is the moon. Is moon in trines to one of the nodes? Whatever it's in trines to, it chooses. And then you'll say, okay, Visti, my moon is not in trines to any of the nodes. All right. Take your Aruda Lagna. Are you gaining from one of the nodes? Is that node in, let's say, 3, 6, or 11th from the Aruda, or 9th from the Aruda? Malefics are very good in 3, 6, 9, or 11. If it isn't one of these, you are gaining from that node. So if you're gaining from a node, you'll choose it.
Right.
Complication that arises, I'll explain in a minute. All right.
Okay.
There's a complication here with the 3 and 9. You see, if let's say you have Ketu in the 6th from the Aruda, you're benefiting from Ketu. Which also means Rahu is in 12th house, by the way. I'll get to that.
Yes.
If Ketu is in 11th from the Aruda, you're gaining from Ketu. But it might be that Rahu is in the 5th now. So are you gaining from Rahu? Malefics are not good in 5th. You do not benefit from Rahu, you're gaining from Ketu. So in that sense, it's very clear. From the 6th and 11th, it's easy to say what is happening.
Yes.
From the 3 and 9, little bit complicated. Little bit. All right?
Okay.
There I will be careful to examine if the sign of the node in Rashi or Navamsha is positive or negative. Just to be sure that indeed the gain is manifesting. I'll just check that, just to be sure. But there's a big difference between 3 and 9. All right? For example, if Ketu is in the 3rd from the Aruda, I know the person is benefiting from Ketu. But 9th house is not exactly a normal benefit. 9th house is where you accept what people tell you.
Yeah.
9th house is the elders. They say, we recommend you do this. That's okay, I'll do that. It was not out of your own action. Your action was 3rd house. Other people came and said, we will gift you in 9th house. So whenever Ketu is in the 3rd house, a peculiar situation happens where the person will take spiritual actions, but they're being told by the world to accept Rahu, as if parents say, you should marry this person, or you should accept this wealth, or you should accept this job. And that usually gets you into trouble.
Correct.
So the 9th, you're accepting, but it gets you into trouble. So that's a problem with Ketu in the 3rd, because Rahu will be in 9th. So now we know this much. Then I add one more thing. I say, look. If whatever is in 7th or 12th from the Aruda, you will reject.
Okay.
So you can see now, this Aruda is quite vital, because even if the Lagna Lord says something, even if Chandra says something, if the Aruda says something, it's probably going to be the most important thing. Because you can have these warped people who are having Ketu in trines to the moon, okay? But that Ketu is in 12th from the Aruda. So what has happened? They say, I like this, but I cannot do it. I like this, but it's not financially viable. It's better to be a bogey in this planet. Rahu in 6th from the Aruda. So you can have these things. The mind is not playing a big role. The Aruda will finally decide. And maybe you have a chart which says, Visti, my nodes are in 4 and 10 from the Aruda. How do I decide? You don't. You haven't. You're losing from both of them. Both nodes are causing you problems. Proper Kala Sarpa. You go one place, go the other. It doesn't matter. You're suffering. Okay?
Right.
Proper. To and through. To quickly summarize, whatever is in 7th or 12th, you reject. So no, if one of the nodes are there, you're rejecting that node. Okay. Whatever malefic is in 3, 6, or 11, you are actively trying to benefit from, with a peculiar complication of the 3rd. All right? Yes. The topic of 6th, 7th, and 12th come under one banner, because if Ketu is in 6th, you're benefiting from it, which means you're rejecting Rahu in the 12th. So it comes under the same banner. Okay?
Right.
So those overlap.
Right.
Like that.
Yes.
So now you have a bit of a portfolio. And this is where what I find relevant. I want to see this. Now, one addition. That 3rd house.
Okay.
The problem with the 3rd house is it can cause your death in the 3rd from the Aruda. How you die is seen from the third, from the Aruda Lagna. And how you live is how you will die. So when I say you're benefiting from a maleficent third, it is possible, even if it is Ketu causing Kala Amrita Yoga, that you are somehow having some bad karma over there. Because you're about to get into an accident. Ketu is accident, mistakes, and mistakes can cause demise as well.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But obviously you don't want Rahu over there, because Rahu means somebody is going to maybe attempt to kill you. Because you did something wrong to them. What am I talking about? Real criminal now. Now you understand.
Indeed.
What are we reading?
Indeed.
All right?
Indeed.
So Aruda is the most important. These Chandra Bhava are the most important.
Okay.
So now I'd like to present some charts. I can just bring this up on screen and make sure also it's a proper chart style for everyone. Of course, the proper chart styles are going to be primarily South and East Indian, if you ask me. In fact, that divide is not even right. We should call them Guru Chakra and Surya Chakra.
Yes.
Okay? Everything else is political. And so if I start with this chart here, this is not my chart I don't want to present, but I think we've seen in a previous example, or did we? I'm not sure. But here is a chart of a man called Charles Lindbergh. He was a very famous aviator. All right? Very famous aviator. He was one of the first to cross the Atlantic. And so what do we have here in Lindbergh's chart? And so you'll notice if I take the Guru Chakra, that if we count from Rahu and go zodiacally, this is zodiacally in the Guru Chakra, we will end with Ketu over here.
Yes.
Right? So that means we're having one of the Kala Yogas manifesting. Then we start seeing this house is occupied, this one is not. Yes. All right? Then occupied, 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 this one is not. So it is a real, it's not Malika, it's a proper Kala Amrita Yoga.
Kala Amrita,
Amrita because it ends with Ketu.
Yes.
And this is the idea. Always go zodiacally. This is zodiacally in this chart. Maybe in the diamond chart, people find this most popular nowadays. So we will take from Rahu and go zodiacally, bhava-wise, and we will reach Ketu. Yes, they're all within this span. And which is the end? Ketu. Ketu means he's Amrita. The end is Amrita. Somebody is saying, no, what if I start with Ketu and go around? But there are no grahas.
Yeah.
So this
retrogression,
so this is not right.
Retrogression of the Ketu and Rahu, so we can,
It is, well, you could also argue, yes, Ketu is retrograde, so he will pass these grahas first, right?
Yeah.
Goes anti-zodiacally.
Yes.
Whatever you want to say. If the Ketu is going reverse or they're going forwards, that's the same logic. Yes. Okay. So now we know this is Kala Amrita Yoga. So my next question, is this person following the Kala or the Amrita? Okay. And I see here, Chandra is in trines to Ketu. So most likely he will follow Ketu. Okay.
In trine, yes.
From the Lagna Lord is Mars or Ketu for Scorpio. So if it's Mars, Ketu is not in 60. If it's Ketu, anyway, Ketu is Ketu. So he's preferring Ketu.
Correct.
Where's the Aruda? There could be two Arudas based on whichever Mars or Ketu we use. One is over here, one is over here. All right. This one in Virgo is not making a decision. So if it gets stronger temporarily, even it's not making a decision. This one is preferring Ketu, but we know, this is a problem because it's third. Could be dangerous. Okay? So either way, this person has chosen Ketu. Okay. And somebody is going to say, I don't think Charles Lindbergh was very spiritual. Well, how do you know this Ketu is spiritual?
Right. First question. In this, yes.
Yes. How do you know this Ketu is spiritual? Ketu is here joined is Varnada Lagna. Varna means profession. You'll have a profession associated with Ketu. Your whole life is about Ketu. Ketu is somebody who goes in the air, aviator. So here Kala Amrita gives a lifelong profession as an aviator. You see, he misunderstood. Somebody said, go up. So he didn't see, go to God. He said, go in the sky.
Yeah. But still following the Ketu,
He's still going up, but in the sky, He didn't reach space yet. So and then the after space. And he didn't go that far. Okay. He didn't go to God, if you can say. Ketu is always going straight up, leaving the planet, if you will. And so he misunderstood, let's say. He thought this was going in the sky. Fair enough. No problem. But he did. And this is in Mars' sign. So this is a type of Pishacha yoga. Pishacha yoga.
Okay? Similar to the Yuti, yeah.
Yes, I have to consider the sign. And then you will say, all right, Visti, what does that mean practically? And I'll say, well, that means that it will be very relevant when there is war. Okay?
Yes.
He could be having a lot of importance during wartime. So, although I don't recall him being an aviator during the war, anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, but he had a very big relevance after World War II as well. Because of his fame as an aviator, he was a consultant in how to deal with Germany in its rebuilding. And you say, why I thought Charles Lindbergh was from the US. Yes, America was very invested and are still having bases in Germany today. Okay? If you didn't know, there are many big American bases, military bases in Germany still today. And so there was a big concentrated effort in ensuring that Germany did not start a third world war, because they started two. And the question is who started what, but they were at the center of both wars.
Yes.
So Germany was very invested. He was a consultant, and he had to travel regularly to Germany in the process of helping this rebuilding effort. And also in the question is it really a rebuilding effort, a controlled effort to deal with Germany?
Okay. Yeah.
I cannot speak in any way whether that's good or bad. That's what they did. That's what they did.
Correct.
And so this is what's happening. This is where this Kala Amrita is focused on. And then there are some other very important facets of his life we can't help but speak about. So now we're getting into chart analysis. His Ketu is what? It's Lord of Lagna, but it can also be Lord of Pisces according to us in our tradition. Can also be. And fifth Lord, Ketu in the sixth house, will give us a worry about kids. Right?
Yes.
Now, is there a malefic influence on the fifth house? No, I can't say that. Can't say that really. You know, somebody will say Papa Kartri, you're going to say, but Ketu cannot cause Papa Kartri, it's its own sign. That's not relevant anymore. But so the fifth Lord is poorly placed. He has two fifth Lords, one Jupiter, which is also not great, and the other Ketu, which is here.
Right.
Now, if I say that this fifth Lord is Jupiter,
okay,
then fifth Lord poorly placed should make us worried. Yeah. If the fifth Lord is Jupiter, who is the Karaka of the fifth house?
The same Brihaspati, yeah.
But how can you be both God and the landlord at the same time?
At the same time, yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Cannot.
Yeah.
Even Parashara says he has a shloka when he describes one shloka, when he describes one topic about reading kids, then he says, oh, make sure you use the Anitya Karaka. Okay. So who's the Anitya? Anitya means the dispositor. This is a bit of a topic because when people translate the classics, as soon as they see the word Karaka, they assume they mean Naisargika Karaka.
Immediately, yeah. Then it's Shani.
But they couldn't mention that because, there are so many Karakas of the 10th house. Which Karaka? 10th Karaka? How many? Which one? What are we doing? Use Karaka. What does it mean? In the traditional literature, Karaka in the classics refers to Anitya Karaka, which is the dispositor of the planet.
In this case, so Shani,
Shani. If I say Shani is now the Karaka for kids, if I have said number one, fifth Lord is badly placed, one cross. Fifth house is okay. He gets a tick. He's okay. But I need one more. I need Karaka to confirm. Then if I say Karaka is Shani in the second house, I'll say, no problem. No issue. This is not an issue. What if I say that fifth Lord is Ketu now? Then I need the Karaka to confirm?
Yes.
Am I permitted to take Jupiter's Karaka now? Yes, I am. Because Ketu is not Jupiter, right?
Yes.
So now I have one cross. Two crosses?
Yes.
Child was kidnapped and died in the kidnapping. Okay.
Very interesting.
Ketu is in Mars' sign. Could it be a criminal deed? Yes. That's what happened. But he had many other kids. many other kids after that. Only one child passed. So unfortunate. Nobody should see that in their life. Terrible. He had many other kids. Okay. In fact, his statement was, when he learned his child was died, they took one away from me, but see how I'll populate this planet with more kids.
With more kids.
That was his statement. I said, what type of mind thinks like that? Okay. But that was his way of dealing with the grief. And he not only had, I think, 5 kids from his one wife, he had affairs with 3 other women and had kids from them as well, just to make sure. They only got to know later on. And where did he have those? Where are these wives from? Germany.
Yeah.
All 3 of them. The affairs. He would his adventures in Germany. He would go there, see in secret, visit all the wives in one trip, see all the kids, make sure everything was fine, and then leave.
Right. But this happens to the oldest child.
I don't recall if it was the oldest or second. I think it was the first. Yes.
Okay.
You would infer Surya is linked, so it must be the oldest.
Yeah, with the debilitated Brihaspati. Yeah.
Surya is the Pratama Garbha first. I would say first or second, because Guru is Dvitiya Garbha, second pregnancy. So look, this is the situation. Now, what did I just say here? He had his next 3 wives and kids from Germany, which he went to because of his skills as a pilot in consulting with the US military effort in Germany to rebuild Germany, which was because of Ketu in Aries.
Yeah.
That Kala Amrita Yoga did ill to his first kid, gave him more kids in a foreign country, Germany, which he got because of his whole work within aeronautics, all right? As an aviator. All of that is just Ketu. Everything was Ketu for him. So Kala Amrita Yoga is that for him. Somebody should say Ketu is in 6th house. Isn't it enemy? Yeah, it's enemy. His work was really about an enemy combatant, Germany. Okay, that was his major work.
Right.
Now, this can also cause some problems because Ketu is supposed to influence his way of thinking that it's the Kala Amrita Yoga. So he can have this idea about people who are belonging to one or the other path. Okay?
Right.
He had very strong convictions about the Aryan race and their supremacy. All right? So this can also happen because as soon as you get these 6th house, 11th house, 3rd house, those trikas, or some people call them trishadaya is the better term. All right? As soon as they come up in the chart, you start developing an sensitivity towards human beings. So that Ketu is dominating his chart and it went to 6th house. So you're developing an idea that some people are okay if they are not as good and some people are better if they are good. You know, it's this who should benefit, who should not type of mentality. It's not a very nice, a healthy mentality.
Right.
So that's what Ketu is also doing to him. So we can see all these patterns in the chart. All right?
Right.
Okay. But somebody will say, but that looks like actually he was quite wealthy. He was quite famous. He had a successful life. Setbacks are there with kids. He died a normal death. It wasn't unusual. So somebody say, didn't Ketu cause an accident? Obviously, this Aruda is manifesting. When it comes to demise. All is good with him. Normal, natural. He died in his sleep. He wrote letters to all his wives saying, I'm sorry, I'm dying. This is what's happening. This is this and that. Okay?
Right.
All right. So you can have a diabolical looking Kala Amrita and lead a good life. And some people should say, no, because it was Kala Amrita. No, it can also be Kala Sarpa.
Right.
I should be expecting big bhogies like the leaders of big companies and wealthy people to have Kala Sarpa, because there's a bit of mischief going on in how they are in some of those pursuits business-wise. It happens. It does happen. You have to be very cutthroat in business sometimes. But Rahu doesn't always have to make you an absolute criminal. It could just be that, yes, we made it big monetary-wise, and yeah, to make it big for a few years, I was selling marijuana. All right? Like, okay, it's illegal, but maybe we shouldn't claim that you should be executed for that. All right. So, but there is that tendency, by hook or by crook, it should happen, right?
Yeah, just don't ask me about the first million. Everything else is fine.
Fair enough. That's what they say. Yes. So then, what if I take another chart here? Ted Bundy.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Chart. Okay, diabolical chart.
Completely.
And now I'll prove something about these black and white differentiations between Kala Sarpa, Kala Amrita. Because if you look at this chart, this is Kala Amrita.
Yeah.
So much for the priest, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. If I count from in the South Indian chart, Guru Chakra, Guru Chakra. And I go from Rahu, I start from Rahu and I go around. If I reach Ketu and all the grahas in between, it is Kala Amrita. Ketu is the end.
Yes.
So much for that Amrita, huh? Now, is it really Kala Amrita? There are some people who will now ask me afterwards, Visti, Ketu is at 19 degrees.
Yes.
So anything after 19 degrees should be degree-wise out of the Kala Amrita or Sarpa or whatever. And there are a bunch of grahas out. Mars is out.
Yes.
Moon is out.
I
don't think that's it. Yeah. I think that's it.
Yes.
Mars and Moon. So is it still Kala Amrita? Yeah, it is. If they're in the same sign, it is. Yeah. Okay. Next question. Visti, Moon is join one of the nodes. Shouldn't it break it? How will Moon Nietzsche break anything?
Yeah. Moon Nietzsche. Yes.
Somebody said it's in Digbala. God help that Digbala.
In Vrishchika.
Yes. God help it, you know?
Right.
Okay, Visti, you have made your point. How do I know it is he not, he's a criminal. Maybe he decided to choose Rahu over Ketu. Okay, where is the moon? Join Ketu. Where's Lagna Lord? Join Ketu. Where's the Aruda? Join Ketu. Everything Ketu. This is super Kala Amrita.
Yeah.
This doesn't sound like Amrita, if you ask me. Okay? Because so when I start dwelling on the details, then I say, okay, this is Ketu with Mars. Again, I am like military mode. We're back in military. We're back in the military.
Right.
So this is Ketu Mars. And there are 3 other grahas here. 3 more. Okay? So everything is focused on this part of it. Everything is just focused on this. Okay? Now, who is the best planet in this sign? Mars. He's a known sign.
Almost Mars. Yes.
Ketu is also a known sign. They are very powerful.
Right.
Who is the worst in this sign? Moon, because he's Nietzsche.
Yes, Chandra, yeah.
So the best and the worst will exchange, right? So Mars is going to either go down or Ketu will go down. I think it's Kala Amrita. So Ketu will definitely go down.
Right.
So this Ketu has now got very low ideals. So if I compare with the previous chart, Lindbergh, his Ketu was in Mars's sign. Low ideals were not going up or down. It's staying here. Okay? Just some wrong ideas about human race and everything. Okay?
Right.
This one is Nietzsche Kala Yoga. Okay? The person's ideals are going down. The ethics are going down. The moral code is going down. Everything like that is going down. Moon is involved. Whenever Moon gets involved, I get worried. The compassion is going down.
Definitely. Lord of the 12th, debilitated in the 4th. It's emotional.
There's also mental things going on. But
as well.
We'll focus just on the compassion going down.
Yeah.
See, 4th house is very important for purity. Shuddhi, how clean and pure you are. All right? Are you the person who giggles every time you speak to somebody who you might like somebody from? Maybe you're a girl who likes guys and every time a nice guy comes along, you're giggling. Ooh, he's so sweet. Or you're thinking, oh, how do I show this person to my parents every time you're talking to somebody, you know, or, oh, what if we get married and all of that? You know, is that emotional sensitivity there? And is that puritanical view there that, oh, you know, I have to be careful. I should be, I like, but I want to be sure it's the right person and all that. How pure are you? Your 4th house, Shuddhi. Now, if you have Atma Karaka there, congrats, clean. If you have Ucha Grahas there, congrats, clean.
Yes.
You have neither, questionable. You have Nietzsche, trouble.
Yeah.
Big trouble. Because it's the opposite. You're actually Nietzsche. You're actually Nietzsche when it comes to purity. People look at 7th house for relationships. First see 4th to see how clean the heart is.
Yeah.
This heart is hoping to suck somebody's blood. Okay? This
Indeed.
person wants to almost eat people, I tell you. Almost. That's pretty, this in their mind is like that. Okay?
Almost cannibalistic. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, it's almost, because it's Nietzsche moon. They don't have respect for human life because of that moral code going down. Secondly, the purity is also going down. So when the purity also goes down, I say, oh, rapist.
Right. Right.
Okay. And yes, he killed but his main agenda was to assault, sexual assault.
Yes. Yes.
That was his main thing, because the fourth is also going down. It's also falling. You should ask me, Visti, what about Lindbergh? He had all those women in his life. There must be purity going down. Yes, but it's not Nietzsche like this. If you see Lindbergh's chart, there will be an issue. There is. His fourth house has some issues. All right? But that has more to do with many affairs. This one is, he is really, he is an assailant. Okay?
This is a pure evil. Yeah. Yeah. Unlike
So what happened to Amrita? The Amrita is being pulled down. They are mistaking blood for the Amrita. Yeah. So did Rahu have to be the criminal always? Ketu can be the criminal. So we have a broad view now. It's broader. We are not just going to take Kala Sarpa Kala Amrita and say flat, that's what's happening. Okay? You will also examine and say, oh, okay, this is how it's manifesting in the person's life.
Right.
More than often, because nodes are malefics, this tends to go wrong. So then we can speak ill about them. Then we can say, oh, it might cause bad death. It might cause problems with property. It might cause problems with purity. It might cause problems in relationships. The person could be a criminal or could be attacked by criminals. So you have that whole pamphlet of options in front of you as soon as we get this yoga.
Yes, and maybe in his upbringing actually had any kind of problems with his mother and the stability in home actually as well.
Yes. Those were triggers. Those were the triggers.
Yeah. Logically,
now,
in a way.
Now, when I make this statement, it's important for me to say that, look, we cannot blame everything on his parents and upbringing. There is a problem here, yes. But I will not assume that it's the root issue. Okay? There are ways to see how a person is being raised in the chart. Okay? An easy way. I look at two things. I don't just look at the fourth house, because how can I differentiate between your own purity and how mother raises you? And is it all connected? And is it necessarily the same? And did his mom teach him to rape women? I don't think so. Okay?
Right.
I think mom did her best, and he had a predisposition that went off the. And in the tradition, we show how to differentiate very carefully between what is the fourth house for upbringing and what is the fourth house for how you treat that upbringing. Okay. But here's an easy one, a nice easy one. Because people might ask later on how to really say, I don't know how to see my parentage or my upbringing. So see here, 12th house from moon tells me what is your family.
Family, yeah.
Okay. And Venus is the lord of this sign. I have to see the lord. This Venus here is your birth family. Okay. So I know how he was raised by his birth family is Venus Atma Karaka over here. Now, somebody will say Venus in own sign in third house, that looks very good. That is Bhagya Yoga. And I'll say, yeah, this is supposed to be very, very good. Very good. Very good upbringing, I'm supposed to say at the get-go. But I don't, so this, I can at least say that the parents had good intentions. That I can say with conviction.
Yes.
The problem is what is influencing these parents? Is this Jupiter here? And somebody will say, isn't Guru Yoga good? Yeah. But Jupiter is in third house. It's Marana Karakstan.
Yes.
So which means that whilst his parents are good people influenced by Marana. Okay? So that means it's going to disturb him whilst being brought up. Good people, but the Marana is influencing the parents. Okay? It's ruining the parents.
Right.
And this peculiar yoga, when you have Atma Karak Venus, you have the same attitude as Parashuram. People will be reborn, so if you kill them, they will be reborn. Okay? So you don't mind killing people. So that doesn't happen to every Venus Atma Karaka. Only the one which is joined a Marana Graha. Then that attitude comes. Otherwise, Venus won't have that attitude. Then they'll be reborn, okay, but I don't have to kill them.
Right.
And the problem is more, that, all right, what comes around goes around attitude. But Jupiter joined, all right, this life, let's kill them. It's okay. They'll come back. So that's not the parent's attitude necessarily. Maybe it is. I can't say from this alone. I'll use D12 chart. But this is telling me something about that there is an issue coming to the parents that's building up this wrong attitude. Okay?
Right.
And Venus is very important for men. It tells me how they will treat women.
Correct.
And Jupiter's joined that.
Correct.
For a man, if Moon and Venus are poorly placed, my God. Okay. And somebody say Venus is in own sign Atmakarka. I say, what do you mean? It's joined Jupiter. These are the two most important things. This man, how are they going to treat women? Moon and Venus, straight shot. Look carefully. All right?
Right.
Moon is weak. He doesn't like mothers. Venus is in with Marana Graha. He doesn't like women in general. So this is how he'll treat them, poorly.
He's a predator and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Yeah, it comes from that. That's it. Now, similarly, we can look at women and see Mars and Jupiter.
Yes, in their chart, yeah.
Yes. Actually, I should say Sun and Jupiter. But women's charts has a relevance to Mars as well when it comes to finding a spouse. So that's why I said Mars. It should be Sun and Jupiter to see how they treat men. Okay?
Right.
Yes. And to some extent, how they be treated by men. Now, so we did so much. We've covered this much. 2 charts. And they're both Kala Amrita Yoga, but the events are very different. And the dynamics of that are very different.
You gave beautiful examples, but this one is brutal in many ways. The chart of this person.
On that note, I would conclude our topic on Kala Sarpa Kala Amrita Yoga. Yes. Getting to understand how broad the events can be.
Right.
And I hope you would have us continue on a new topic at this stage.
As soon as possible. Thank you. Thank you very much for this one.